Okay, so this is Natanguri. We're back in the new year, 2026. Happy New Year, even though it's a little bit late. And today I have a guest, Síofra. Hi, Síofra.
Hi.
How's everything going? Has your well, obviously your classes have started. Do you know which classes to take?
Yes, I do.
Do you like it so far?
Yeah, I'm so excited to be on this podcast.
Nice. I personally enjoy seeing the professors and their methods. Like when you start teaching as your job, you kind of have the sense of when the professors are prepared and when they're being spontaneous. So like
true.
Maybe it's really easy to tell, like sometimes, oh, definitely this week probably they were exhausted and they couldn't be preparing for the material. And well, the real quality is like when they can still be good teachers. Like quality doesn't fall just because they're being spontaneous. So there are a lot of things to learn as a teacher as well. So that's kind of what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And today I talked to you to come to the radio station because I wanted to talk to you. And you told me that you have a topic that you especially want to cover.
Yes.
And would you like to tell us what is it about?
Yes. So I would really like to cover kind of disability advocacy because myself, I have a disability. I have a heart condition, which can also be categorized as a chronic illness as well. So I really wanted to share my experience on that.
The condition that you have is called CHD.
So it's CHD is congenital heart defect. There's a lot of different names for it. You can call it a defect, a disease, or a heart condition. Kind of not so pretty words for it, but, you know, that's what we have.
When does it start? At a younger age? As a newborn baby? Or does it develop as an adult?
Well, congenital heart defect basically means that you get it when you're born. So you're born with this type of heart, different to the normal kind of heart, but some people can obviously develop it as well through age.
And what kind of symptoms do you have in your daily lives?
For me personally, I get very tired and fatigued and, you know, out of breath when I'm doing like strenuous exercise, or even just like normal walking can make me so tired. So
I went through your Instagram posts to collect some informations. You say there you've had two surgeries, two open heart surgeries in your childhood. Once when you were 1 year and a half, 1 year old and a half, 1 year and a half old.
Yeah, 1 year and a half.
Thank you, my English. And then the other time when you were 6 years old.
Yes.
And it took about 12 hours for the whole surgery.
Yes,
thing.
Very long. It feels very distant, like right now, because I was so young. Definitely can't remember much when I was a baby. But at 6, I definitely remember like afterwards being in hospital for 6 weeks. And because of my surgery, I had to have like these tubes connected to me, which would drain out lymph. And I'd be like walking around with these things for 6 weeks. So it was very intense in that way. And I have a few memories of like my friends coming over to visit me in the hospital, or even my teachers came one time and gave me like a whole stack of cards from all my friends in classes. Sweet. Yeah, those kind of memories definitely stick. My mom was always there for me, and every time I had to go in. So I can definitely remember that. I remember my mom would always do like funny faces whenever I had to do like blood tests or something like that, you know, to make me okay with it. But obviously they were very worried as well, like, of course. But I guess they never showed it too much, you know, to help me with it all.
As I already told you yesterday, because we were discussing about this too, the fact that you see so much positivity in it is special to me, because usually, as you wrote yourself, there's so much negativity and worry and anxiety when you go on the internet about a certain condition. Some people call it diseases, some people call it illness, but even the wording and also explanation makes you feel scared sometimes. Related to this, maybe, how did it feel going online when you wanted to know more about your own condition?
It definitely felt very scary. And also, thank you for that. That's so sweet that you say that it was special to you. Yeah, it was definitely very scary. I mean, I know friends of mine who have researched their own condition, and because there's just so many big medical terms and so many just, scary things online, like, in general, researching anything about, like, medical stuff is always so, like, so much health anxiety that I get from it. So yeah,
I love how you organize the Instagram pages, because it's clearly not an easy topic to talk about for everyone, especially for those experiencing it. But one of the parts where I just simply found your post cute, where you were giving some tips about how to understand the condition and how to support people at the same time. And then you had this comment about how to search online about the condition, but at the same time not get scared about all those pictures. Yeah. And then you said, like, you can go and search on Google by writing CHD cute.
Yeah.
So that you can get, like, cuter picture and explanation, so that the information wouldn't be overwhelming. And I find it really sweet. Like, nobody says that. This is the kind of thing where you can say or come up with as an idea, and not me.
Yeah, I think that was very helpful, because I remember searching my heart condition one time, and there was, like, photos of, surgical operations and stuff, very heavy things and very triggering. But when I searched up cute, there was, like, drawings of my condition, and I could use it for my Instagram posts or just look at it in a way to be curious. And yeah.
So you had to go to the blood test, as you mentioned a while ago, every week or every second week, based on your information. And what was it like?
Yeah, it was very draining. I mean, because of my 2 surgeries, so I had the Glen shunt when I was 1.5 and the Fontan when I was 6. And it was basically just rewiring my body so that I could have a circulation system. So instead of the blood going to my heart, it would go through my lungs. So the first one was doing the upper part of my body to the lungs, and then the second part, the lower half of my body, to my lungs. And in the operation, they left a little hole on purpose so that my body could get used to the circulation. And because of that hole, I had to also take medication, which is called warfarin. It's a very heavy blood thinner, and you have to go in for blood tests every week or 2 weeks, so that you know the dose, basically. So it was very draining, because I'd have to go in and I'd have to wait, like, long hours, when I want to just do homework or just play with my friends or whatever.
And yesterday we talked about your school days. In your case, what classes were especially difficult to join or be?
Definitely sports classes comes first to mind, because of my condition, I can't really do, like, such strenuous exercise. So joining in that, I always had to, like, be on the side and watch everyone. So it was kind of like I was isolated, and you could see it in my appearance, because I wasn't, joining everyone and just watching them. And then I'd have very interesting interactions with different PE teachers, reacting to my heart condition in various ways, being like, oh no, you don't have that, you're lying to me, like, go on, join the others, or, I don't know, yeah, very different interactions. Yeah.
Did you always have to explain to teachers what kind of conditions you had?
Yeah, because they need to know in case anything happens. But not everyone was informed, so I'd have to say it myself. And sometimes they can, think that you're lying, which is very unfortunate, because I wouldn't do that, because it's a serious, issue.
Sure.
And I think we talked about this the other day, how, for me, when I tell someone about my condition, they're either very empathetic or not caring at all. There's no kind of in between. And those two can be, like, very intense for me. So yeah, I think I also mentioned the story about how one of the teachers was really kind to me, really nice. But, when I'd be in class having to take a break or resting, just to rest because I was so tired, she'd come over to me and ask if I needed the first aid kit. And she'd ask me quite a few times. And it was a bit embarrassing because I was fine. So those interactions can be also a bit intense, even though it's coming from a very good place, you know.
Being unaware of your condition or being overly sensible, which is harder to deal with for you?
Oh, yeah, this is a tricky question. I don't know. I think sometimes it's good that people don't care in a way, because I feel like for me, when I meet someone new, it always feels like an elephant in the room that I have to mention it at some point during our friendship, because it just is, you know, such a big part of my life. So, you know, sometimes it's kind of good to just feel kind of normal and not have my heart condition be associated just with me. You know, sometimes people can just associate that with you. So having like everyone not care is kind of good in a way. It's tricky. Both have very pros and cons. Like,
but I love it about how you appreciate your differences. We all have different situations, moments in life where we think excluded from the society or community, and then we can either be negative about it, which is kind of easy, or we can be positive about it as well. And it is difficult to keep on with the same kind of mindset stably, especially being positive is sometimes really difficult when you're exhausted. But you put so much positive energy in your post. I keep saying the same thing again and again, but
yeah, that's all right.
That's really sweet about it, I think. And especially for those people with similar situation and unable to be positive about it and have negative emotion or difficulty expressing themselves. I think it's especially special that they have somebody as not in a role model. The word kind of puts too much pressure to the person, but just as an example, like, oh, this is another kind of view that you can take. And then what I love about it, your posts in general, is the kind of words and phrases that you use for your condition. In some parts you criticize that people call your condition either disease or illness or something that you automatically take as a pejorative expression. But then you say, you call yourself like heart warriors. And what's the intention when you're using that word? What kind of people do you picture? Or how would you want to be taken in the society with these kind of wording?
Interesting question. I'd say like with, you know, doctors in the past have used different words like disease and condition. And when I was younger, when they would say disease, it would really like trigger me, because it's not a nice word to use, that you have like a disease inside you, you know, from birth. So I feel like heart warrior just like disconnects from all of those different kind of lesser nice words and just like puts a positive spin on it, because we are warriors. We have been through hard things like surgeries and we've survived it. So why not just use that word for ourselves to, you know, to show our strength.
You've been in Heart Children Youth Council, so I'm kind of curious to ask, what is it? And also what kind of role you've played, what kind of experiences you've had.
Yeah, so the council was made like collaborating with Heart Children, and they're a charity who, you know, support people with heart conditions. And we made this council so that younger people could come, like, meet every month and talk to each other and arrange events and kind of have their voices heard. And I kind of I am the chairperson of that, and I helped set it up, which was a really cool thing to do. I think it was really important to have younger voices, like, being able to speak to each other, because navigating from kind of during puberty and, you know, having all of these stresses of being a normal kid, but then also associating your condition with it, it's just really helpful to get, you know, everyone's perspectives and advice on it, like a support network, basically.
How has it changed you throughout the experience or after the experience?
I think it has really helped me find my own voice and like helped me associate my condition with my identity in a positive way. You know, I kind of really, when I was younger, I was really into just spreading awareness, and it was really enjoyable to, you know, see other role models in the community and kind of get a feel for everything and kind of just self-reflect on what I've been through. It was really, really cool.
And another thing, in 2024, do you remember what happened?
No, what happened?
Based on your writing, Paul Gillen Bursary Award you received. Yes. What was it about?
Yes, so Paul Gillen Bursary is a bursary given annually by this family who lost their child with a heart condition, and they give a chance for people to make an application who has a heart condition, and they give €1,000 to whoever they think, you know, should be chosen to help like fund with college or with whatever. And I was very honored to have won that in 2024.
Did it feel like now you have more increasing number of audience, or did it feel like people care about it more, or your voice is coming through in a better way?
Yeah, a little bit. It was kind of like, I don't know, kind of all the effort I put in was worth it in a way. And it was just such an honor. It was so sweet. And, you know, getting the award in front of like the heart community was just such a beautiful moment for me. Just, yeah.
In general, because you've been using a lot of, actively using social media, and not just to inform yourself, but also to spread some information about CHD. Do you generally think social media as a positive thing or a negative?
So you can't put one or the other because it's kind of in between depending on where you look and how you look at it. Can be definitely negative depending on where you get your information, I guess. And definitely positive because it can grow communities and you can connect with other people. I mean, I found a lot of role models through like Instagram, you know, people who are adults who have heart conditions, and that can be really nice to see, you know, someone older than you who is still alive, I guess, and still, you know, having a heart condition. So yeah, it can be positive and negative sometimes.
Yeah. I think for me personally, to be honest, I see way more positive things than negative aspects. It's obviously really difficult to see whether a certain piece of information is true or not. And nowadays with the AI and all those things, and people, if you could be really careful and write what you know, what you see based on your experience or anything, or you could be intentionally writing about wrong information in a sense, and then people instantly believe it. So it's kind of scary to see how one piece of information or one piece of meme can quickly spread all around the world. But at the same time, because in school, I don't know about like in Ireland how they approach to it, but my schooling was they all happened in Japan, and they were always talking negative about it. Which is understandable. Like, you really need to be careful when you're online. Yeah. Don't post this, don't post that, don't do this, don't do that. And in my family, we didn't get any smartphone at a young age. My first smartphone, I got it from my brother as a birthday gift when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And that was my first time. And before that, we had, how do they call it? Like, in Japanese, it's called Galapagos phone. Oh. So it's not like straightforward smartphone, but you
like flip phone.
Yeah, flip phone.
Yeah.
I had that throughout my high school. That one's quite useful as well.
Yeah.
But we had it just for phone calling or texting someone, and we didn't have internet on it. So it's kind of interesting because everybody around us already had a smartphone and communicated through some kind of app in school, and I wasn't part of that. I was lucky enough to be in a community where my friends were like, you know, they could fill in the gap in a sense. For example, I was in a school committee to be dealing with school festivals in Japan, and I was a chief, like a leader role. And I couldn't obviously be chatting with other students on social media, but for that I used my friends to be communicating with them instead of me. So it kind of helped me to structure like a better co-working system and have a better communication with them. So for me it was good, and luckily I didn't have like early time experience with social media where it could have affected you in a really harsh way, disinformation or any kind of negative comments to you, or you writing something negative about something and not responsible enough or anything. So everything, clearly it's easy to see some negative parts, but at the same time, generally I see it as a positive thing to have, where you can develop any kind of community, and it's so much easier to have your own voice heard in the place. Like nowadays, in different parts of the world, whatever we're talking about, cultural conflicts, political conflicts, or younger people and older people, social cleavage and stuff, it's easy to have your own voice heard, and it comes clearly with its own danger, but at the same time it has its own quality. And also, especially facing the issues in society, I think it's great that we make fun of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Some people, especially in the older generations, they say, those younger people, they all make fun of terrible things. You're not supposed to laugh about it. I personally think, well, unfortunately, we are in this situation. We have to live through this somehow. And, well, maybe we're making fun of things that are not great, but at the same time, this is the reality we're facing. So at least we have we're trying to develop some kind of positive mindset towards it. And that's why I'm kind of really proud to be living in this age.
Yeah, very well said. I think it's always good to keep it lighthearted. And it's so interesting how you talked about, not having a phone. And I think it's quite cool because it kind of showed how much, how real your friends are for putting in the effort to communicate with you.
Have you ever thought about maybe one day having kids and how you're going to deal with? Are you going to give them phone at certain age, at a younger age, or later on?
I'd say definitely later on. I mean, especially with how AI is going, it's so scary. It's another, issue added on to already how dangerous social media can be. So I would definitely say later on.
But honestly, I don't understand. Because once again, back to you. Like sometimes you get to see really special, good information and be able to talk about your own experience, people's experience. And it is really a fundamental place where you can be communicating with other people nowadays. If you have social media, you can also easily get in contact with completely different people from other societies and stuff. Maybe we also need to think about the algorithm, and because of that, you would be a bit skeptical that you're really getting like pure information from everywhere. It's going to be organized for yourself, so you're not hearing things that basically you don't want to hear. But at the same time, to be building a community is really an important place. Like for me personally, it was okay to have my first phone at the age of 19, but for some people it's super late. Like they're like, I already had my first phone when I was 9. Okay,
well, yeah, it's hard to navigate, especially since I think the younger generation is kind of acting more older when they're at younger ages, which is, when I was a kid, I was definitely like a kid. You could see it. And nowadays it's kind of different.
Yeah, true. It's so interesting because I remember being in Japan last year in March for 2 weeks. At that point, I hadn't been there in 3 years and 8 months. So I had quite a while away from Japan, and I went back home. It felt different to see the generations compared to my own generation. the way, the kind of clothes they wear is like different, like more like adults than cute, childlike clothing. And also the way they play with each other. It happens mostly at home. And I was kind of interested, like, what would it be like? Like, how would I see the kids? What would they be doing with each other? What kind of plays would they have? And I was so happy to see some of the children playing outside, just like we used to.
Yeah.
And like almost the kind of plays, they still have the same tradition, and it's kind of awesome and amazing to believe that somehow it's been passed down. So, of course, like, probably they're playing way more at home most of the time, but still outside they kind of have a bit of skill to, like, how to be interacting with each other. And so,
yeah, it's kind of sad though that that's like what it uplifts us when we see children playing outside.
Yeah,
it should be such like a basic thing and a necessity in a way.
True.
But yeah, it's so interesting to see, because when I was younger, like, I had no sense of fashion style, you know, and now I see other, you know, younger kids, and it looks like they have it figured out even more than me right now, you know.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Now I think I would like to talk with you about specifically the text that you've written on the Instagram. First, I kind of want to start with social criticism.
Yeah.
Because I love critics.
Oh, yeah.
In one of your posts, so in 3 or 6 pages, you explain what kind of school system is hard to follow or why the structure is not great. In the first post, you say there is a strong lack of approaching disabled students individually. Most schools accommodate pupils using generalized approaches instead of addressing them one-to-one, ensuring that each person's different needs are met. On the next page, there is a lack of education and guidance around different government processes that could help disabled students. Third one, unfortunately, there are negative stereotypes put forward onto disabled people in school by educators and students, which can be difficult to break free from.
Yeah, I can't even remember writing that. That's so interesting to hear that. Like, for me, because it's kind of invisible, you know, you can't see it on me directly that I have this. So that's kind of where the issue has often come for me. Like, when having to interact with teachers and tell them about my disability, they wouldn't get it because they think I'm fine and, you know, I look okay and all of that. And when I'm tired, I don't really show it. So I think it's always good to take an individual approach because we all have different needs. Like, you know, even if I have the same heart condition as someone else, you know, they'll have different needs than I do. So I think that was where it was coming from, because I always felt like, you know, they just kind of generalized me or put me, I don't know, it's interesting. Like, for example, with PE, it was kind of like I was a burden in a way, because they kind of just, you know, they didn't know what to do with me because I couldn't join in the classes. So they were like, oh, well, you can help set up the sports activities, or you can just sit there and watch and do your homeworks. 2
parts where I found interesting. Once again, I'm reading your post. You say, unfortunately, even though that disability benefits is there to help us, sometimes it isn't enough. With added things such as having a partner, your income, your house, those things can lower your allowance, even though sometimes it isn't fair to take that into account. With most apartments and houses in Ireland being so expensive, sometimes it's even impossible to pay by yourself, especially with the increase in the cost of everything. Very, like, modern situation in Ireland is very expensive.
Yeah, I think, well, since that post, there has definitely been, I think, improvements in that. But I think that was also coming from, because in Ireland, it kind of feels like if you don't know information, you just don't know it. So I know other friends who have heart conditions, and they didn't know that they could be eligible for the disability allowance because no one told them. And I think that's such an important aspect, you know, from doctors to kind of inform their patients that, you know, that's kind of weird that they don't associate, disability, that word, with this, because it's something we're living with and something that affects us like on a daily basis. So I think that's, kind of information like that is just so vital in that way.
Another post I wanted to touch is, I will quoting you.
Okay.
I briefly just wanted to mention to be mindful when posting about facts on heart health. I find that even when people are trying to make awareness, it ends up actually doing more harm than good. Especially during Heart Month, I was so excited to see Instagram flooding with posts about CHD. But when flicking through the stories, I was filled with anxiety reading facts and statistics on how I'm more prone to get sick than others and die younger than others because of having CHD. So this is the kind of thing we already touched.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important topic to touch on. I mean, that was definitely coming from my younger self being so overwhelmed with the social media world. And I think it's a hard stance to take, because on one hand, I think it is really important for awareness to say the harder things that comes with having your heart condition, or with any matter in general, saying the harsh realities of it. But from my perspective, I always try to make my posts with the intention that other people with heart conditions will read them. So I don't want to scare them. I want to have some kind of positive outlook. So when I was younger, looking at all of these statistics just really made me so anxious, because I don't want to take that on. I don't want to internalize that. So that's why I always have that intention to be positive, because I'm, looking at my younger self, seeing these posts, and how would she feel in that way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's actually exactly the point what I was curious about the readers and your writing intention, because it's visually really attractive and easy to read through, and very informative how you write.
Thank you.
What kind of motivation you had, or who did you have in mind as readers when you were posting?
Yeah, definitely my younger self.
Okay.
Definitely, because I felt like it would have been good for me to kind of know that people with heart conditions existed, because there's actually quite a lot of us. I mean, I think, I don't know the exact statistic, but I think it's 1 in 100 babies are born with heart conditions. So, yeah, it was really empowering to be able to, see other people, again, like I said previously, older than me, having a heart condition and living their life in that way.
I personally find it so beautiful how you connect your CHD condition with mental health, because you're clearly stating and over again explaining, not just about your conditions and symptoms and everything directly related to the situation you're in, but also you post a lot about being mindful of mental health. So for you, you view those two things, the condition, physical condition, and mental condition, not as separate things, but you see connection between them.
No, definitely. It's always about mind and body, right? That they're kind of connected in that way. And I mean, I always take this positive stance, because I was very fortunate when I grew up that, my mom kind of she didn't put this view that I was different onto me. We would travel and she would still take me to places like I was a normal kid. So I felt like a normal kid in ways. And having that mindset of being healthy kind of helped me to eventually get to being, at my point that I am now.
Yeah. Because you mentioned your mom, I have to mention your sister as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because in your post you say, I don't know how old she was at the time you posted it. Maybe.
What year was it in?
I kind of remember reading 2 years old, but maybe.
I think so, maybe around that age.
Is she?
Yeah.
But anywho, as a very, very young family supporter, you write about things your sister does because you have CHD. And it's so sweet to read. She plays doctor a lot with me. She's curious about my scar and says, "Nice scar, Síofra." She gets excited when I take my medicine and thinks it's magic when it disappears. She knows that my heart is on the right, and she is there for me when I'm in my hospital appointments and gets curious about what they're doing. It's so heartwarming.
Oh.
And also, like you write about your own family, your community, your grandma, and then the connection with them.
Mm-hmm.
What has it meant for you to have such a community of people with similar experiences, and also really close people like your family?
I mean, it's just been wonderful, I guess. You know, to have a support system is really, really important, especially going through difficult times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just so, like, I don't know, I just felt so, like, sweet that my sister felt this way and was showing this way at such a young age, being so interested. And she didn't have, like, any, I don't know, notions clouding her judgment on me, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important to kind of show her at a young age through, like, my experience that people are different, and that's an okay thing, and you can support them in that.
Earlier you mentioned about people sometimes being overreactive and like excessively thinking that, I don't know, your condition is like a hypersensitive one, and then they have to be acting a certain way, or you're not supposed to be moving around too much and things like that. But like the kind of comments your sister has made is like really sweet, and you see a bit of like positive energy, but also, well, it's also in how you phrase it in your post, but kind of humor that you can see in your connections. So maybe I think I have last 2 questions as a wrap up. One is the one I already asked you yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And for the whole experience, how has it influenced what you are now?
Okay. Such a loaded question, but such an important one as well. I mean, I think I always go back to the positivity that I've, maturing and having a look at, everything associated with CHD and what it means for me, and reflecting on my experiences. I'm really appreciative of that, because I feel like I kind of matured quicker, as a child, and I've kind of been able to see different perspectives and, have such an appreciation for life in general, because, I know that it's fragile from my experiences. So I just have such gratitude for living life daily, and I think that's just something that can't be taught in certain ways. So, yeah, I'm just very appreciative.
Yeah. I'm personally amazed by how you see your different situation as something special, because I think it's really important, because each and every one of us, we have this concept called society or community, whatever you want to call it, and we all, one way or another, feel as an outsider in different moments. And it's not like I see a lot of people belonging to a community, but it's not even true. They all have different situations, different personalities, and it's just kind of myself, knowing myself more than the others, and then see some different situations. Oh yeah, I was raised in Japan, but I'm not like fully integrated in Japan in a weird way, so I don't belong to the community. I could always be saying that, but in the end, I think it's really important to be proud of being a black sheep in the community. And I had to take a lot of time to realize that, like, to get to this point. And I still remember 2 or 3 years ago, when I was, as always, complaining about the whole situation in my life, and I was like, no, I'm not Japanese, I'm not German, and whatever else, I don't belong to the community, blah, 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 as always. And there was one person who told me that, well, over time, I hope that you will learn to make advantage out of your experience. And at that time, I didn't fully understand, what? How is it even possible? I don't have any advantage. Like, I'm just in a bad place, in a, like, completely different and too far away from the society. But over time, like in the last couple of months, I don't know, ever since I'm in Ireland, I don't know, maybe a bit earlier. But anywho, I'm starting to understand what she meant by that. So it's really a special thing to be different and not being able to represent the whole society, whatever that is, that doesn't actually even exist, like a community, society. Each and every one of us is different with different situation. And yeah, that's the important thing. It's not really about belonging to something.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful message. And I think we've talked about this before in the past, being different in certain communities, feeling that way. I think like your experiences and what you share is really, impactful as well, because I think it's so cool to be from different backgrounds and gain these different experiences. I think it's also very inspiring.
And then final question, what would you tell your younger self, let's say 10 years ago?
Oh, that's so tricky. I'd say so many things, I feel. Could have a whole chat. I'd say, keep strong, keep going, it'll get better, things will get better. Still keep that positive light of yours and still be kind to people because they deserve it. Even if your bad experiences might, don't get bitter about the world, just keep positive. And
thank you so much, Síofra, for coming.
Thank you. And if you want to check out my Instagram, CHD awareness page is what it's called. And thank you so much for having me. Such an honor.
Thank you so much. For me too. Thank you for listening, and goodbye, Slán.
Bye.